Hello, Sue Rose Minahan, February 7th, 2021, Super Bowl, NFL, between Kansas City Chiefs and Tampa Bay. So let's look at that chart because a lot of entertainment's happening today and it's intriguing. So here is a chart, and as you can see, right now it's on. How is all this entertainment? If you look back at the other years that are being Googled, everybody's wondering at halftime, there's all kinds of sudden things. That's really what's exciting everybody's brain. Look here at Uranus, and it's square Saturn, the traditional but unusual in Aquarius. And so such entertainment such as, oh, Prince, he poured in the pouring rain. He didn't have to be plugged in because people like the Red Hot Chilies in 2014 were unplugged but went wild. That was one. Bruce Springfield, he did another power slide right into the camera because physicality, that's what it's all about. And look right now, it's Uranus is in Taurus. That's a physicality. It's so fascinating to see how is it that what we're attached to might be relevant with the moment. So that's what today's little chat's all about. If you go back further, Michael Jackson, though, in 1993, now that's a ways back, the wondrous Michael Jackson, he had 12 minutes, and 2 minutes of those, he just stood there on the stage, didn't do anything. They estimate that 17% of his time was just taking in the audience. And that's really showbiz. You look about every single person and they connect to you and you connect to them, and bam, you do it. Now, football doesn't necessarily have that luxury, right? They've got the quarterback, and right now it turns out that both, as far as you listen to the quick little synopsis, they're pretty equal. They're both huge passing quarterbacks. But as they say, one might think more on their feet than the others, if that's a correct estimation. And I apologize if that is not quite accurate. But in other words, the one has more calculated, um, perceived plays because they both have great defense, for what I understand. So that's not the issue. It's really, can they operate what's happening? And so it might be looking at this chart, what is going to be that sudden move that can be maybe unexpected to the other one? That's part of it. There's in this chart also the moon, which is trining that energy there of Uranus. So it's really going to be how maybe they see the bird's eye view of everything. It'll be interesting to find out. But what about the halftime? Halftime is really, if you take Diana Ross, it says that she flew up in a helicopter, up and away, off she goes. That's like, wow, a lot of sudden action. And then Lady Gaga, she did her historic just a few years ago, leaping off a roof. Now it was pre-recorded, granted, but still it was like, and besides that, I guess it was not exactly the most graceful. I don't know. And maybe that was purposeful, because when any kid gets off the high dive, which often we have all perhaps tried at a pool or a lake, and you could scramble like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? And up in the air, maybe it's not like feet first. It's like wiggling a lot in the action because you have a little time there. There's a lot of time in that space. So if you look at the chart, there's the sun here at 19 conjunct Jupiter, which is ruling the south node. And in quite a dynamic, you could say over here, if you see in a square to Mars, that action. So how is Mars our action? That's pretty grounded. It wants form. It wants to see things in the material. It's in Taurus, self-survival. How is it looking at all these tremendous stellium, as they call it, with 3 or more energies that are all in this ungrounded, air-oriented, genius-like thinking Aquarius? So we've got our structure of Saturn attached. And so it's looking back at like, well, what has happened in the past? And can we tell any difference? Well, maybe, maybe not. Like they say, the strategy might be who can think on their feet, but time will tell. The game's on real quick. And then Venus of that's thinking there too of the value systems, which is very related. So it might be strategic thinking of what really has happened in the past, along with the big view, Jupiter, huge. It's like the philosophy of everything. And you know, in the audience, there's very few people. It's limited. That shows too the value system with this pandemic that we have. There's only 16,000 people of 70,000 people, and the rest of the cardboard. So talk about imagery, and is that real or not? That goes right back here to Neptune that's squaring the nodes. And the nodes, what? Those are lunar points. It's in Gemini of thought and our belief systems. And it's the illusion of the powers of greater than can be. And those 16,000 people that are invited have had COVID tests, and there could be said to be an elite group. And that's indicative of the possibilities of Aquarius. That yes, it's the community, but the shadow side can be elite. It's a power game moneymaker. And Pluto here in Capricorn is pretty much working on its own little league system. It's still big power, like what's empowering me and what's not. But when it comes to traditional energies, which it is in, it's going to be perhaps, as we can see, taking the shore trip that we know in this large continental nation of so many large groups of people, that there will be 16,000 people that would be glad to come. Although I did see on television that one of the football players invited a whole group of, and I can't remember what city, but a whole group of special care people. So imagine perhaps they had free cart flights and everything. And of course they were very excited, and it was an effort to display and exhibit some thanks to all the teamwork of people that have been working to help us through this pandemic. And I know that American Airlines, it's based out of Dallas, Fort Worth, brought in 3 new routes just to bring in these deep pocket people, as it was said. So times, it's reflective. We need a little escape. And that's indicative too with Neptune here. It's like, where can we get a little entertainment? Last night on Saturday Night Live, Phoebe Bridges had a debut, and she did I Know the End, and ended with the guitar smashing. Well, as a musician, that always pains me to see a beloved instrument, but I'm sure she had a ton. And so it does fill in that drama of, here you have Mars and Uranus, of action and suddenness, and what's going to shock us. Well, we'll have to wait and see what, and maybe we know what the prime time is for a halftime, because that's a big deal. And they have big advertisers, some of the name of the game people. And later on, it's always the advertising. And right now with South Node in Sagittarius, ruled by that Jupiter conjunct the Sun plus the co-ruler Neptune, it will undoubtedly be a shocker yet. Well, sports plays a great fashion for sportsmanship, and that's really the basis that we hope for. And allegiance, you know, everybody's got their side. We'll find out. Okay, well, thanks so much. Do subscribe, and we'll see you again, and game on.